I have spent a lot of money on things that I probably never should have, but one of the worst purchases I have ever made in my entire career is buying Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Now, at the minute, this game is priced at around $70, which is, a basic AAA game. You're going to get a very long, worthwhile experience. Hopefully. I mean, to be fair, at the minute, the AAA gaming industry is kind of on its last legs. Like, for example, we can all remember how amazing Starfield was. Not really. I kind of stopped playing it after like 5 hours because the game was just so boring, dull, and bland. Now, if you look at the reviews for Modern Warfare 3 at the minute, they are abysmal. The game has released to mostly negative reviews on Steam. Now, one thing a lot of people have a problem with is the campaign. First off, it is one of the shortest Call of Duty campaigns that has ever been released. That isn't essentially a bad thing as long as you make it good. This campaign was not good. It basically had a bunch of recycled assets. For example, DMZ, the entire DMZ map was basically just moved over. That map you played in Verdansk, that was integrated into the campaign, which could have been a cool segue, but they've obviously just done it to save time and to save money. And the weird thing is as well, the cutscenes in the game are still to like a pretty good standard when it's actual acting and characters on screen and not just a mission loading screen with a bunch of, faces popping up. But obviously a lot of people have that issue because, they spent $70 on a brand new Call of Duty game only to get 3 hours of campaign and basically no new content. Now, I get it. A lot of people, will never touch a Call of Duty campaign in their entire life. I'm pretty sure whenever a Call of Duty gets announced, the top comment will be someone saying, yeah, it's going to be about 6 months until I even try the campaign. I'm jumping straight onto multiplayer, which is totally fair. But me, I'm the complete opposite because the first thing I want to do when I boot up a game is play through the campaign. I even remember when I was much younger and like every Christmas a Call of Duty would come out. That'd be like Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1 and 2. And playing through the campaign on Christmas Day was, it was insane. There's a reason why so many Call of Duty moments are still so memed on or talked about today. For example, the No Russian mission. That mission is actually in the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, and for comparison, like, you can't even compare. If you don't know the No Russian mission from Modern Warfare 2, you do. I really don't need to explain it. But basically, it's a scene in an airport where you play as a good guy masquerading as a bad guy to get in with the bad guy group, and you end up doing some pretty deplorable things, like, for example, going into an airport and gunning a lot of people down. The thing is, though, you don't actually have to take part in that. I think later on in the mission, you actually have to fight the police because they're going to kill you. But to be fair, you can actually walk through that entire mission and not actually have to fire a single bullet on someone that's unarmed. And then on top of that as well, that was the original Modern Warfare 2. In Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, they actually added an Easter egg where you're being chased by another character who collapses onto his feet, someone that you wouldn't see until Modern Warfare 3. Now, that is a really cool detail that they did that. They almost did a little bit of retconning, but in Modern Warfare 3, the new one, there is nothing like that. So instead, what you have is a mission where you play as like a passenger on a plane. She was part of like a defense force at one point, and then the plane is taken hostage, and she's basically used as the fall guy for blaming the entire situation on her and her group. Now, again, it does try to bring up the whole kind of moral consequence because there's one point, for example, where a bunch of passengers are trying to like push you around because there's a bomb on a phone and you need to get hold of that phone. But there's not really any morals there because you're given a gun and the passengers on the plane believe that you're some kind of, terrorist. And then if you try to fire the gun, it doesn't even go off. It's completely empty because the new Call of Duty is so worried about saying anything. So instead, they'll put you in a bad situation and just be like, yeah, that's bad, right? Like they're going to think it's your fault now. But then the mission after that, you basically recover all the flight logs, the black boxes, and that entire mission basically did nothing. It did nothing to the story. It was completely pointless. I understand why the No Russian mission in Modern Warfare 3 had to be different. I mean, it's not even called No Russian, it's called Passenger, because they basically set up the entire premise differently. So originally you had Makarov, who was the main bad guy in the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare franchise. I think he was hinted at in the first game, introduced in the second game, and then in the third game, it was this head-to-head confrontation. But the new Modern Warfare reboot has done it a little bit differently. Instead of having him featured at all in Modern Warfare 2, they just teased him at the end of Modern Warfare 2. And then Modern Warfare 3, he's kind of introduced, but he doesn't really do anything. The entire game feels like a Looney Tunes episode where you're running around trying to like thwart his plans. And when you do, he'll just come up with 2 more plans. And then, you hit them on the head like whack-a-mole with a mallet. And it doesn't do anything. I can't even say that the campaign for Modern Warfare 3 ends on a climax because it doesn't. There's a very important character, part of the main trio, that dies. And they don't really comment on that. I feel like they just had to end the game there because something happened. Because the entire game, nothing happens. And it really sucks because I feel like every Call of Duty campaign has at least tried something different. There's a very popular meme going around that Black Ops 3 had by far the worst campaign imaginable, but honestly, I think this one's worse. And the funny thing is, as much as the Black Ops 3 campaign was very underwhelming, they brought in aspects like, for example, the Nova 6 gas, and they didn't really do anything with it. And also they got rid of pretty much all the characters from Black Ops 1 and 2 and did a fresh slate. There was actually some pretty decent plot threads there, you know, talking about AI or like, you know, life after death. Can consciousness be transferred? I'm not saying by any means it was a good campaign because it was very, very mid, but there's a reason why there's a couple of video essays popping up in the past year or so talking about that campaign and how it actually aged kind of well. I mean, it's nowhere near as good as Black Ops 1 and 2. You had Mason, you had Reznov, you had Frank Woods, like, and seeing them age by the second campaign, Black Ops 2, it was great. And that's why those characters, as scary as it sounds, have almost become nostalgic now and, like, you know, intrinsic in the whole Call of Duty pop scene. What are you doing? Look at him. What's he doing? He's... Troy. What are you doing? Hey? You digging? You're not digging. You're looking for diamonds? Troy? Yeah, just digs the bed and then lies down. Dog moment. But then also, the new Modern Warfare is a reboot of the original, and honestly, I don't think anyone can say that the new Makarov is better than the old one. The old one had this, like, gravelly, almost soft-spoken voice.
Remember, no Russian.
You and I both know you won't last a week.
And neither will you.
Makarov, you ever hear the old saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend?
Christ, one day you're going to find that cuts both ways.
But then the new Makarov, he just looks like an AI-generated human. Like, he just looks perpetually angry all the time.
All stations, this is your commander, Vladimir Makarov. Call sign Tsar 90 actual.
Now, one of the reasons why the game wasn't very good is because of crunch time, that amazing word that has caused probably more mental breakdowns in the video game industry than working as a public sector worker. Now, Modern Warfare 3 was only made in around 16 months. And then the developers had to do, you know, the crunch time thing where they're working on weekdays, weekends, working overtime, probably unpaid. So usually they'd end up having to work like an 80-hour week. And I think one thing they've done in Modern Warfare 3 for the multiplayer, which is pretty slimy, is how they have repackaged old maps, but they haven't really added anything new to them. They've basically just stolen the original Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer maps, and then just said, yep, that'll be $70 because it's the same thing, but it's on like a slightly better engine. I mean, at least when Counter-Strike went to Counter-Strike 2, that was like a free upgrade. I mean, there was some bad aspects as well, like for example, all the achievements got wiped for the 3 people that actually cared about achievements. But still, having to pay $70 for basically just nostalgia bait, it's stupid. If you really want to experience old Call of Duty, play it yourself, or go watch Jay Schlatt's channel where he like reads fan mail and stuff, because he's always playing Modern Warfare 3 in those videos.
So I figured, hey, why not bust out the old COD commentary microphone and turn back the clock even more.
Now, all the way back in February of this year, Activision actually said that Modern Warfare 3 will be a full annual premium release in the COD franchise launching in fall. So it was meant to be released as a standalone game, but what we got instead was basically just DLC. DLC that was meant to be originally for Modern Warfare 2, but just been repackaged into a $70 game. And then as well, one thing I noticed, because I got access to the Call of Duty campaign early because I was stupid enough to pay the extra amount of money, I know, very hypocritical, but I'm happy to say that the money generated from the Pyro Live channel, the slop channel, can be used to giving Activision more money. Yeah, I gotta rethink that. So when you boot up Call of Duty, you know, to play the campaign, you instead need to install like COD HQ, and then you need to boot up the single player campaign separately. So you're booting up like 3 different programs just to play a campaign that's like 3 hours long. Also, there's some really stupid aspects about the multiplayer as well, apart from all the reused maps. For example, it's basically logging in every day to do daily challenges, like it's some kind of mobile game like Clash of Clans, instead of actually, you know, ranking up your guns by getting kills and XP, you know, playing the game. But you know what? I think I've cried enough about this game, so I'm going to set myself a challenge. The next time I stream, which will probably be tomorrow, I'm going to play through the entirety of the Modern Warfare 3 campaign on veteran difficulty. I did this 2 years ago with Modern Warfare 2, and it was absolute hell. So I'm hoping that by playing it on a harder difficulty, the hardest difficulty, I can immerse myself and actually maybe enjoy it. Probably not. So yeah, long story short, I'm going to be playing through the Modern Warfare 3 campaign on veteran. We'll see how it goes. It won't be good. Believe me, it will not be good.